Okay. So I'm recording now. Let me start by putting. Um, I'm just going to go find the wireframe example, so I can just put it on on your display while I'm talking, so that you're not seeing black. You know, this kingdom will move by light. Hallelujah. Mhm. So make I go find something soft. You know what I'm trying to say? Something soft. Yeah, just hold on. If I see it, I will know what. When I see it, I will know it. So let's just wait. I'm trying to look for something. Okay, let's. I think we can do with this. Let me see. Well, let me see. I think I saw one. Okay, let's see this one. Okay, let me take this one. We'll start with this one. So, so I might just paste it here, right? Hmm. Yep. So pasting it in there. Um, good, good. So let me start by saying I really appreciate all of you that took out the time to do the assignment. I must tell you that it's um, I get excited when I see your efforts, when I see the efforts that you bring together to getting those things done. It's actually a very nice thing. So today we'll just go quickly into what I listed on WhatsApp, and I'm going to be doing a lot of explanations before we go into neomorphism, which involves more design than explanation. All right, so I'm just going to advise that you do what you do best and just pay maximum attention. Wait, I try to do something. So, I'm coming. Oh, please hold on. I'm trying to um, do one small thing on my phone. Just give me 10 seconds. Okay. Alright. Hey. Alright, so let's move. So number one, the first thing we have is user persona. So what exactly is user persona? I mean, you hear the word, I've used the word user persona today in class. And for some of you who might have done research one way or the other, or you've heard about UI UX design before, it's very possible that you have come across the word user persona at some point in your life. So, what exactly is user persona, and where is it necessary? When is it used, etc., etc. And then the next thing we have is IA design, which is basically information architecture design. So what is it? When is it being used? When do you use it? At what point does it find necessity in your design process? I mean, of course, because everything you're doing, it still boils down to your design process. So at what point does user persona, or at what point does information architecture design actually need expression in your design process. So we're going to look at that. Also, wireframing, wireframing. So I'm just going to make that number three, wireframing. I sent some job descriptions early today. I think that was in the morning, and then I asked the question of what can you see on those job descriptions that you have not been taught. The reason is because I want you to fully understand that what you have learned so far is enough to get you a job. You understand? It's enough to get you a job. But I must say that maybe the opportunities that are being presented in Nigeria are not so massive as when compared to the opportunities that are presented outside the country, like my country now, the United States of America, my birthplace, where I was born. The opportunities that are present there are, they are massive. I was explaining the concept of why. I think I was explaining why. Where was I? I think I was in America. I was saying that the job, what you know is enough to get you a job, but here in Nigeria, it might not be enough. I know what I'm saying. It might not be enough to get you a standard job, because they will have a lot of requirements. Yes, you can get jobs, internships, those ones that pay like maybe 80,000, 100,000 internships. You might get those sort of jobs with what you know already. You're that good already. But they are not as massive here because we are not, most Nigerians are not looking at the budget. They're not having the right budget to grow projects. You understand? But outside there in America, as you are like this now, you are worth thousands of dollars in terms of your pay structure per month, and that's just the truth. That's why I advise people. I say, okay, you're learning here, and that's cool, but I need to learn with the perspective that you are actually gaining a lot of value and you are preparing yourself for opportunity. Because guess what I learned today? I was discussing with um, someone that has a lot of friends in Canada, in Germany, and in the US. Actually, he's an instructor too, but not a UI UX design instructor. And then he was telling me how it is that some of his friends can go base in the UK, but when they need to write when they need to write exams for skills like this, they get to come back to Nigeria and just write from here. The reason is because it's cheaper here. Like it's really cheap here. In the UK, you can get this MS Office file that you guys go and buy in Computer Village 500, 200, or you buy anywhere you are like max 1,000, or more. That thing in UK is $1,500. So imagine that's how much they actually value technology there. So and that's how expensive it is. So if you're here, you get all the skills that you need, and you just keep pushing. You just keep pushing because one day you're gonna find yourself outside there, but you'll be really really valuable when you get there. So that's why I share those links so that you can see that as it is now in Europe, you have value already. If you were in Europe, you'd have value already. So let's push into the business of today. I'm very sure that we are going to cover what we're supposed to cover. So number one, what is user persona? I'm going to start by saying user persona is something like a CV. For example, we have somebody here. His name is John Obi Michael. Now, John Obi Michael wants us to build an application for his business. Let's say he runs a supermarket. He wants us to build an application for his supermarkets, right? Where people can basically come buy and sell, blah blah blah. Now, what exactly is user persona here? We get to ask John questions. You already know your design process, right? We ask John questions. You want to know more about, oh John, what's up, what's up, what's up? You want to get all those questions sorted out, and then um, but John has people that his interests are actually entwined with. That is his customer base, right? Those people that are buying from Mr. John. Now, it is those people that form your user persona. So, what exactly is a user persona? I think I would like to actually show some examples as I explain. So, I'm just going to go to user persona generator. What am I spelling? There's a website I can just use as a quick reference for this. Yeah, personalgenerator.com. So basically, the user persona there is like, okay, who are the audience for this software? Because definitely it's not Mr. John. Mr. John is your client. So the audience, they are people like Olamide Kuti Alexander, Ojie Prosper, Ifi, Bakshaw Harmony, Friday Egby, John Emeka, and others. Now, all of these people are the customers, and these customers are the people that the software is being designed for. You understand? So, They form the user persona. They are the ones that form the user persona. The reason is because user persona has a very big influence in your design. For example, imagine you're designing an app for old people. Imagine that the audience, they're actually old people. Now, what you're going to do in your user persona is you're going to have one particular user persona, like a CV, that is going to be for old people. So let's say this one's name is going to be like okay, that for this person self. Let's say we use Mrs. Sanson, whatever that means. And let's say her age range here is like let's say 80. If we create a user persona like this, it means that to an extent we understand that the software is for people that are within this age range, right? So we are careful to make sure that the user persona, and listen good. User persona is not always applicable to one person. No. User persona is not always applicable to one person. User persona can be applicable to four, five persons, etc. etc. So now when it gets too big, when you have a very big audience, Maro Love, you said I should check my volume. You said that you cannot hear me. Let me know if it's louder now. I'm trying to adjust my splendid microphone. So let me know if it's louder now and if you can hear me. Yes, I need to know that you can hear me, Mr. Oyeningi and Maro Love. Let me know if I am loud now. Let me know, please. Let me know before I proceed. Can you hear me? Okay, Ibrahim, you can hear me. Okay. I need to get one more confirmation. Developer Kings, you can hear me. Okay, fine. So we can push. So what I'm trying to say is that the user persona is not always applicable to one individual. You can have a user persona for as many as 10 people, right? Okay. Ah, who is telling me sorry now? I don't understand you. Who is all like here now? Who? I don't understand. Who be? Yeah. Who? Anyways, let me push. I refuse to be distracted by those who are calling me by the short form of my name. I refuse to be distracted. Okay. So, back to business, right? The user persona is not always for one person. It can be applicable to two people, three people, four people, five people, right? So imagine if you're creating a user persona for an old person like this, and then we come over here because this is like a persona generator, right? So it's like it's like a shortcut for you instead of you having to do it from scratch. So where does this person live? This is where we talk about things like let's say GRA for haircuts. And let's say the highest level of education, we can just say I'm on a primary school then go. Then we say occupation, we say business. Marital status, we say marriage, say eight grandchildren. So by the time you have this information filled out, Omo, that software you are building, you have to make sure that it suits this user persona. So you cannot go and have a complex feature like what Snapchat has, like let's say where you talk about things like filters. What is a person of 80 doing with filters? I mean, do you understand that? What's a person of 80 doing with filters? Totally unnecessary. So the user persona is a guide. It's like it's a guide that basically it conditions you to a particular design um, process. So you're not in question of what features are actually you're not in question of you're not confused about the features that you should use because you have known who exactly the software is for. So just imagine that we have a user persona and let's say that's our only user persona, right? But it's for a female. So imagine we're not expecting males to use our software. And if we're not expecting males to use our software, we make a lot of decisions, right? Such as let's say color. We might just say, oh, all girls like pink, so we go for pink. I'm trying to draw a reference to some apps, but I don't want to sound too referential. You understand? Imagine you're making an app for guys alone. The features will be different, definitely. Imagine you're making an app for young people. Let's say the user persona it's around 25. Let's say 25 to 30, and let's say they all live in Europe. You won't create an app for people in Europe the same way you create an app for people in Nigeria. There will be differences in the design. So that is the influence of the user persona. They will come here with comfort with technology. This is an old woman, so we know that with the internet she's somewhere around here, software she's somewhere around here, mobile app she's somewhere around here, social network she's somewhere around here. With this setup, we cannot give her some complex features. Ladies and gentlemen, if we do that, she might not use our software. She'll just probably uninstall it. Imagine that we are creating an app. Very good example is imagine that we are creating an app for, let's say, the app is for news, like somewhere you just come to read news, right? It's an app for reading news. We cannot give Mrs. Sandon a news app that involves a lot of options. It involves a lot of buttons based on the user persona. Okay, this is not 25 to 30. Let's say this is 80 to 90 or even 60. We can't give her a lot of features. What Mrs. Sandon wants is just when I log into the app, and this is where information architecture is going to come in. So what she wants is when I log into the app, the next thing I want to see is news. That's all. And then if you want to give her something else, let's say she can save the news. Yes, so she says, okay, I can save news. Right? Just that. So we'll do more of that when coming to the architecture. So you see how the user persona is important. So what are her needs and what are her wants and what are her values and what are her fears? This one here, you can just click on it and move it. So what exactly do you think Mrs. Sandon wants? What are her needs? You see, it's all defined here. When you go to the website, they tell you that needs are required, wants are things that they're not required but just delights. You understand? So what are fears? You understand? So you're creating a news app for an age grade of 60 to 90. You're having a user persona of Mrs. Sandon, who is a businesswoman, yes, married, 8 grandchildren. You must make sure that the app is not those type of apps that will be dancing around. Why will you give look at the screen? You're creating an app for Mrs. Sandon, and before you log in, you're having onboarding screen. Imagine you're having a onboarding screen or screens rather three. Imagine having a onboarding screen is three. I'm not saying that this is wrong, but I'm saying that based on your user persona, this might not be necessary. Do you understand how we are making decisions here? So based on the user persona, we know that omo, these people that we are designing for, they don't I don't think it's best to serve them on boarding screens. They probably not they will read it, it's taking their time. Maybe you just go straight to sign in or sign up. Are you going to provide sharp login info registration information such as social media login? We decide that. So let's say social media login. So if we are going to do social media login, you're going to ask yourself, are these people even going to be on social media? That's one. If you're providing social media login, it might be because you want them to just do it quickly. Just instead of creating new email, taking up their putting their email, typing password, creating all of those things. Click on social media and all of that. So you will decide that based on the person now. Do you understand where I'm going to with this? So this is the beauty of the user persona. This is where it is usable. So at what stage in the design process would you use the user persona? To answer that question, it is in between the first and the second. The first being what? Empathy, and the second being define. So When you empathize with the user, Mr. John Obi Mike NWC, aka God is Good Motors, when you empathize with him, you get to know who his target audience are, and then you create a persona for them, a personality. You want to know who they are more, so you create a persona for them, such as this. Now, another thing that people do, designers do, instead of creating a personality, they create something called an empathy map. But an empathy map is more advanced. An empathy map, you can touch that later on, it's nothing too complex. But I just want to start with the user persona because it's easier to understand. Now that we have concluded the subject of user persona and at what stage it is required, we can move. We can move into information architecture design. So now, what exactly is information architecture design? Information architecture design is the the screen by screen, the screen by screen detail of the path that the software is going to take. So I'm going to rephrase that for those of us that are scratching their heads right now. The information architecture design is the blueprint of a software. The blueprint, the entire blueprint of a software. What is going to lead to what? What is going to take the user to what? That is the architecture. So how does the user find this from this? Blah 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 blah. Quick example of this is, let's say we are still considering Mrs. Sandon, our user persona. Mama change this picture. No vex. Let me use this one instead. Good. So let's say we're considering Mrs. Wait, this one I missed out. Sorry, hold on. So let's say we're considering Mr. Sandon. God is good motors. God is good motors. Let's say we're considering him and we're building a news app for him. That is an app that he's supposed to just basically go on and read news. And then we start. Watch the screen. So I start with, what's the first thing it's going to do when it comes to the app? So I'm going to say splash screen, right? So it's going to see the splash screen. Then after the splash screen, what's the next thing that it's going to see? I'm going to say it can choose to register, or he can choose to log in, right? And if there's a case where he wants to log in but he can't remember his password, there's going to be something like forgot password, right? Then we have this, right? Then after he has registered successfully or logged in, he's definitely gonna come to the home page. Now watch what I'm going to do now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and look for, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and click on this icon here for pen, or click on P, which is the shortcut for pen. I hope you're following. So when I click on P, I come over here and I just do something like this. I clicked once here and I'm just dragging. I can drag anywhere from MBC to Mbano. So I'll just come here and I will just do something like this. I'll click again here. Now it's still going to tell me that I can drag to another point and click. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on escape or enter. So I'll just do any of those. And you can see that the cursor is still telling me that I can do another one. So this is basically done just by clicking and dragging across your screen. That is how you use the pen tool. But I'm going to undo all of these guys because not me do this thing. It's not me. This is under the influence of pen, pen tool. So just come here, click done, click enter, whichever one. So here I'm just going to come and change the color of this line that I just drew to white and increase the weight of that line. These two options at the bottom here indicate the arrowhead, the points, the esophagus of this line. So when I come over here and click on this, I can now choose what manner of um, head is it end? Yes. What manner of end or start that I want to give to you? So I might just go with this, and then I'll just come back to this one here, and I'll just do something like this. So this is rubbish, but just follow me. So what I'm trying to say here is that this can take me to this. So this is wrong. I think I should be using reverse triangle instead. So let me reduce this guy a bit to like, so you have something like this. You understand what I'm trying to do? So this is how you're just going to link them up, blah blah blah. But let me show you how I do it professionally. I was just trying to show you an illustration. So what I do is this. Let me say I start with a splash screen, right? So I'm just going to put this in auto layout. You know how to do that. So I'm just going to give this a fill, probably a fair color, something around it. And then I'm just going to come here and say there are two options here, right? You know what this option is? This is going to be register. Just make it a bit color for one demo. And then this is going to be login. Then there's going to be forgot password somewhere. Let me give these guys a bit of corner radius. Let's say 12. Okay, so this guy and this guy definitely are not going to take the same color with like splash screen. The reason is because you see colors, uh, they serve as identifying. They identify. If I will just put that straight, they identify, right? So you don't want to put them put the same colors there. So this is just like a page. So I'm just going to come back here to pen. So I'm going to click on the left here, click here, and click on enter. Then I'll just come here, take a color to white, and then do the arrow line here and give this one the reversed. So I have this. Then I might just come over here and do the same thing. So what I'm trying to say is that from the splash screen, you can choose to go to the login or the watch this. So look at the arrow now. You see that there's something wrong here because it's not the login to splash screen. It should be the splash screen to login, right? You know that. But let's say you're designing and you're being too quick, and then you do something like this. Yeah, yeah. I will explain some things. I see your questions. I'll explain. So what you just want to do in this is that you just come over here. If you hover on this guy, you'll see something here. It's like a swap. So when you click on it, you're just going to swap these guys. That's all you need. Now, somebody is saying that forgot password should come under login. See, that is your business. That is your architecture, and this is mine. So if I was now using the architecture, and this is where wireframing comes into play. Like I told you, they are synced, they are linked together. So if I'm doing the splash screen, let's say that this is my splash screen here. Okay. So from the splash screen, after the splash screen, I'm going to have the register, and after the register, I'm going to have the login, right? Now, if I'm going to judge by what I have in my architecture, which is my splash screen can take me to register and login. Do you know what that means? That means that on the splash screen page, I'm going to have button for both register and login. It's as simple as that. That is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. That you see, no app was just built. There was an architecture for it. There was an architecture. They sat down to design the architecture. You understand? So it is that architecture that decoded where what will be, what is going to be. The information architecture is going to tell you about the features, what features you're going to have on your software. Now, and that brings us to the third thing, which is wireframing. Now, what is wireframing? You see, I told you that they are linked together. Wireframing is the skeletal structure, the drawing of how the application is going to look, but not investing too much time in things such as color, font, or even accuracy. So you're not bothered about the accuracy of, like, look at these two for example. I just dropped them here and said they are buttons. This is the reality of wireframes. So I'm not concerned about the button no fine. No, I want to illustrate the architecture. And the architecture is a product of the persona. The architecture is coined out of the persona. The persona is what has the ability to convey the necessity behind the information architecture design. So out of the empathy gini ka na-akpọ ya, out of the empathy process where you thought about the user and his client, you design the user persona, and from the user persona you were able to coin out the information architecture design. But let me tell you that the information architecture design is not gotten during the define stage, the stage number two. The information architecture design is gotten during stage number three, which is ideate and collaborate. Because what we are doing in stage number three is we are ideating, because here we are thinking. So that is why I told you that the user persona rather is a is something that is usually done between the first and the second in most cases. But the IA design is done during the third phase, the ideating phase. I'm not saying that is the first thing you do, but I'm saying that that is what leads to the wireframing stage. Because you are not guessing when you want to design, you're not guessing where the button should be. I mean, you're not guessing what the button should be. You're not going to come here and say, Omo, let this button be here, let this one be here. No. Based on the architecture that you have set up, you know that this one here is going to be register, and you know that this one here is going to be login. You know, because your architecture has told you that the splash screen, which you believe is your first screen, can take you to both these two pages. So, what is the Son of God going to do? The Son of God is going to come over here and make sure that I wireframe the design to meet the information architecture design that I have coined up out of the user persona. Are you with me now? Good. Furthermore, if for example, I now come here and I say in the login screen, I am going to have a forgot password. Get my spelling. I'm in the spirit right now. Let me correct it, Sham. I'm not supposed to type on my that's okay. So let's say I come over here and I say the login is supposed to take me to my forgot password. So I just do the usual thing. Let's say I have something like this. Alright. I didn't draw that well, so let me correct it. So I just do the same in here. You know what I'm trying to say? So I'll just reverse swap them because of this. This is the one that leads to this. What this defines for me is that if this page here is going to be my register page, and this page here is going to be my login page, it means that on the login page, I'm going to have a text somewhere here for forgot password. This is not a design, this is the wireframe. This is not the design that's per here. Hold on. Forgot password, right? This is not what it's going to look like. This is where they are going to be. These are the screens that this information is going to be present. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So there are three types of wireframes, and I might need you to write them down. The first type of wireframe is the low fidelity wireframe. I'm going to write it down here. So the low fidelity wireframe. The next one is the medium fidelity wireframe. And the last one is the high fidelity wireframe. These are the three types of wireframes that have been given to us to make dominance with on the earth. The Bible says, be fruitful and multiply, and all your seed shall be abundance, shall, shall be low fidelity wireframe, medium fidelity wireframe, and high fidelity wireframe. So, what is low fidelity wireframe? What is medium fidelity wireframe? And what is high fidelity wireframe? And that brings us to the image, that I have projected on your screen. This one you see over here is pretty much identical to what I am doing over here. And this one you see over here is called the mid fidelity. Wait, oh, na mid, oh, not be medium. Oh. Sorry, if you're using pen, please cancel it. You mid fidelity. So the mid fidelity, and this is the low fidelity. Meanwhile, the high fidelity is the actual design when you have applied all your colors and everything. So, how do you wireframe? This is how you wireframe. There are certain things you use during wireframing. Let's say, for example, imagine with me for a second that these guys were not here and this page is supposed to be a splash screen page. You remember that WhatsApp design you did where there was just the logo here? You were wireframing for that instance. What you're going to do is just come here and draw a square. But when you draw the square, ladies and gentlemen, you will just come into the square, come here and look for line, and just draw a line. That is all you need to do. Just draw a line. So wherever you see something like this, it represents that there is an image here. Note, it does not represent the exact size of the image. No, it only represents that there is an image. There is an image here. There is an image. That is what it represents. That is why you have this guy here with all of this here. If you look at this here, because me say why I'm looking at this thing, I don't understand. This thing is not supposed to be like this. Basically because if this is how we started it, then probably they now swapped it here after much iteration and ideating. So this might not even be a good example. I just delete it and look for another one. So let's go and look for another wireframe example. There's one particular one I'm looking for, but I didn't see it. But let's see if I can find one that has um, the three of them together so that I can just illustrate that at a glance. Are you with me? Just hold on, let me see. Let's I will just check types of wireframe. I think if I do that, it will offer me with more sustainable information. So types of wireframe. What did I type there? Anyways, I hope they understand. Yes, exactly. This is what I'm looking for. We can also use this one. But I like this one. I like the simplicity of this one. So I'm just going to take this image. So just make the thing load finish. Okay, so just copy it. So I'll just paste it here. Do this now. Okay, yeah, copy. Hold on, no, let me copy the right one. Right click and copy. So when I come over here, you should paste. Yes, you should paste. You have to be obedient. So this is low fidelity, this is mid fidelity, and this is the high fidelity. So you can see what I'm talking about. You can see what I'm talking about. This is the low, mid, and high. When do you use them? After architecture design, you want to do the low, and sometimes we skip the mid and we go straight to the high. You know, I'll give you an example of what happens with me personally when I'm designing for clients. Sometimes I most especially skip the mid fidelity wireframe because I don't know if it's because of the way my mind works, but once I have the low, I can go straight to the high, and sometimes I don't do the low or the mid. I just go straight to the high. But it is because of the amount of experience that I have coined from having designed a lot of interactions, a lot of screens. So I know exactly what I'm supposed to do in the high. You understand? Mm, what is life? So I basically know exactly what I'm supposed to do in the high. That's because of the experience that I have. But you're still coming up, so I believe that you would do the low fidelity for most of your designs, especially if your clients are still sketchy about what they want to achieve. So you want to design the low fidelity and run it by them first. And the reason why you do the low fidelity is because you don't want to come here and design and they tell you that this is not what they want. They tell you why is this image here. We don't even want an image on the screen. You want to do this first. So that when they tell you what is this, you say it's an image. You say, oh, we don't want an image here. You remove it. This is simple to remove compared to when you have invested so much time, energy, eba, ewedu, fufu, ofu olubo to get this done. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So that's why we wireframe before we design the high fidelity. So those are the three types of wireframes: the low fidelity wireframe, the mid fidelity wireframe, and the high fidelity wireframe. Okay, so now I am going to take some questions before we go into neomorphism on the next call because we cannot handle neomorphism on this call. It has to be on the next call. Or do you think we should not do neomorphism? I want us to do neomorphism and we're going to do it because that's your assignment, sir. Okay, so I'm just going to take some questions. So I see your question. The first question I have here is um, someone is saying, must there be IA and wireframe in every design? Not really. It depends on the complexity of the project. If you're doing a project from scratch, for example, let's say you're doing a project from scratch, there might be need for you to get an architecture. You understand? Because you want to know where this project is starting from and where it's heading to. You want to know what features are going to be available for your user. You understand? That is why the architecture is there. You don't want to have headache when designing. You want to have the headache when you're actually doing the architecture design. It's easier there. It's much easier there. What do I mean? Follow me. So imagine I'm still doing this architecture, for example. Now under the register here, and this is not where it stops. I'm going to come under the register here. So what are the input fields that I want to put on the showing screen? So I say email address, I say phone number, I say password, say we type password, and probably I say captcha. With this, I've known the input fields that are supposed to be in this guy. So when I'm actually now designing, I'm no longer thinking of these guys. I already know. I already know. What is your forget password process? So imagine that okay, your forget password process is that when you get to the forget password page, let's say you impute email address. This is where I'm thinking of it. So impute email address. So after imputing email address, what's the next thing? You do the architecture, you sketched it. So after inputting email address, okay, let's say after inputting email address, there's going to be a code sent. So you say impute code. And after a code has been imputed, if that word is correct, then you say retype password or something like that. My point is that this is what it is. This is what it is. So the information architecture is necessary in most designs, especially if you're starting the project from scratch. Okay, Harmony says, Mr. Nat, can we say the low fidelity is like a sketch or draft of what you want to do? Yes, you can say that. You can say that it is a sketch. You can say it's a draft. You can You can think of it in that regard because yes, that is what it is. It is a sketch of what you want to achieve. It is a draft of what you want to achieve. It is a sketch of the information architecture design. So that is what the low fidelity wireframe is. Do we have any more questions, please? Okay, Cody, you say, can you please export one of your designs as an image? I have difficulty doing that. Yes, it's very simple to export as an image. When you click on the frame, just come over here to export and make sure that PNG is selected as here, and then you just click on export. It's as simple as that. That is how you export your designs. So I want us to deal with neomorphism, and neomorphism is just going to take like Franklin IE is information architecture. So neomorphism is going to take like 20 minutes, but trust me, neomorphism you have to be in that class. So I'm just going to cut this link. I'm just going to let me show you what we're trying to do in neomorphism here. Let me say neomorphism UI. Let me just show you an example so that you know that it's simple, but you just have to be there. So we'll disconnect to come back. We'll do your office in 10 minutes. 10-15 minutes, we're done. It's not difficult at all. But I just want us to do it today so that we can cross that and know that it's been done. So this is neomorphism here. It's beautiful. Like neomorphism is sweet. It looks so you understand. So this is neomorphism design. You understand. So it's actually very, very, very pretty. you know, it's something that you want to know. That's where your assignment is actually going to be coined that from. You get it. So you might be doing something like this for your assignment. Oh my god, it's so sweet. So let's get the disconnected here. Okay, someone wants me to go over the Marolov, the persona again. Okay, I'll do it because of you. A user persona is like a CV, right? But it is for the users of the software, not the client. Okay, so the users of the software, you want to create, you know how you go to apply for a job and all they tell you is drop your CV. Why? Because your CV tells everything about you that they need to know in regards to that job position you're applying for. So you're not applying for a job as a caterer and submitting a CV as an electrical engineer. you know. So as a caterer, you will submit a CV that is fit for a caterer. So that CV is most likely a user persona for us. So, but the difference is that we create the CV for the user. The users don't do it for us. We create it based on the amount of empathy and research that we have made available for that project. So I hope that's clear for you right now. Was anybody able to create a portfolio with that video? I think that's a general question. We can address that when we come back. So I'm going to end this call now and then create a new link and send in 2 minutes. And then we're going to come back to handle your morphism design proper. All right. So we're going to handle this the next class. So see you guys in 2 minutes. Yeah. Let me disconnect this guy now. Bye bye no. Bye bye no. Bye bye yo. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to be sharing the chart. Good. All right. So what is neomorphism exactly? Let me go and look for the definition of the word neomorphism before I go and talk the one that they did not send me. Let me go and look for the definition of that word. I know what the design is, but I want to see if there is another definition to the word itself. So what is neomorphism UI design? Very good. So wait for it. Hey, geometric design draws from both skeuomorphism and flat design by pairing a monochromatic color palette with subtle shadows and made a calculator with interpolator. And I just dey talk rubbish for here. People are just talking rubbish. Anyways, skeuomorphism design is actually a design style different from neomorphic design, and it's also different from flat design, and it's also different from material design. There's supposed to be a class on this one separately, but it's not actually very important. It's not actually very important because it's not trending. It's not a trend. I mean, the skeuomorphism and then flat design. These ones are not trending anymore. And flat design is more like what you have in Microsoft now. I don't know if you have seen all those Windows Lumia phones. You know the way the UI is designed on those phones. It's different from normal Android operating system. You understand? So that's more like flat design. Then skeuomorphism is more like what iOS devices use. Those Mac OS and everything. Skeuomorphism. Basically, skeuomorphism is they use real life elements to display on devices. A very good example is a trash can. So you see a trash can icon on a screen, you see it looking like looking very identical to an actual trash can in reality. That's skeuomorphism design. So I wanted them to explain homomorphism, but they didn't do that. So I'll just use my explanation here, right? Because of course I think I can make it very simple to understand. And I can make it much more simple. Alright, so neomorphism is a design style that basically deals with two things: shadow and light. Shadow and what? And light. Those are the basic two things that neomorphism design actually deals with: shadow and light. And let me just show you a quick example. In neomorphism, the first thing you want to do is, let's say we are working with a frame, let's say the 13 mini. So I'm just bring it over here, and I'm just give it corner radius of 32. Then just go over to I'm going over to this guy feed component, because I've told you guys that you can always go there and get that top header for your devices, right? So I just want to go and get something. You know what I'm trying to go and get. So just go. You can easily get it from another file on my Figma, but I know I always try to go back to this place here so that you can see that it's not too far. It's not too far away. You understand? Okay. So it's just loading. Just wait for it. But you know what I'm trying to get now? That top bar where you have your time, clock, Wi-Fi, etc. This guy here. So that's what I want to just come here and get. Not that we can't do it on our own, but who has that time for now? So let's just copy this guy, come over here, then we'll just paste it here. But we just want to take that guy. So once I have this guy here, I'm good to go. I can just delete it. Perfecto. So this is neomorphism, ladies and gentlemen. One thing you need to note about neomorphism, and I'm not writing these things down anymore because I know that you guys are very smart. I mean, you guys are very smart, so I don't need to write it down. Neomorphism makes more sense when the background and the elements that you actually want to make neomorphic are of the same color. What do I mean? I'm going to come over here and take a color like F6, 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 right? Good. So I'm going to come over here and take a circle, for example. Let's say I take a circle. So an ellipse. I'll hold shift and I'll draw a circle. You see the same color with the background? It's not. So I'm going to come over here, click on this, eyedropper, because I want to take the color of this guy, right? So when I do that, the circle has taken the color of the background. So obviously, you're not going to see the circle if I click outside, but it's there. You see it's there. So I'm just going to click on the circle and I'm going to come here to effect and click on effect. The morphism is done. That is it. It's just as simple as that. But this is not perfect, yes. I remember I told you anamorphism involves two things. It greatly involves two things, right? I said shadow and light. Shadow and light. So what we have to do now is, I know the right to marrow love. I know the right. It's simple. Just get the frame, background, get your background color. Try to make sure it's around. I might just give you the hexa codes. In short, as I'm talking in here, you can just get the hexa codes now. So imagine if it's okay. Let's say we use FE. I think this is a bit dark. Let's say we use FE. So we also use that for background. FE. And then you just come here, drop shadow. You need to make sure it's drop shadow, not inner shadow or layer blur, background blur. So drop shadow. Then you come here, you click on the setting icon here. So when you click on the setting icon, okay, no, let's write it down. Let's write it down. Let's write it down. I'm doing this because I just want to make sure that you can actually follow up since it's an entirely new thing. So step one, frame. Step two, color. I'm just going to say FE. Three, circle. Color. I'm going to write same there. You should know what that means. Step four, effects. I'm going to say drop shadow. Now the drop shadow is not, it's not just going to end there because I'm going to come here and click on effects, settings, settings of this drop shadow. So when I click on it, let me zoom in on this guys a bit. So the next thing you have here, drop shadow. Then we have set drop shadow. So this is where I'm going to write the settings. So this guy you see here, obviously you can see that the drop shadow is already giving it shadow down here, and then this guy appears to be having no shadow interference. So what you want to do is come here, click on this setting here. When you do that, you get this box where you do your settings from. So in this box, you have the x-axis, you have the y-axis, you have blur, and you have spread. So what is the x-axis? X-axis is what? Left to right. You can see it. Left to right, 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 left to right. Then the y-axis up to down, 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 up to down. So what you want to do is I'm just going to do something like this. So x is going to be 8, y is going to be 8, and low is going to be 16, right? That's what I'm going to do. And then spread, leave the spread in 0. Now the color here, you can leave this color, but just do 10%. Yes, so let me just do that. Now let me tell you that see, there is no one way to doing it. Oh. I'm telling you, if I'm going to call this drop shadow one, just hold on. Drop shadow one, so x equals to 8, y equals to 8, then what else? Low equals to 16. Then the color, that is the 0.00000, and that 0.0 I did at 10%, right? I'm just trying to write exactly what I did. Yeah. So let's see it again to confirm. So 10%. So x y 16. In creating your morphic elements, there is no one way to doing it. Your creativity is where your limit is. You understand? Your creativity is where your limit is. You just have to be creative with it. If this was a different color, I will not be using this. For example, if this guy, for example, was a different color, let's say it was a blue like this, and this one here, let's say this one here was also taking this blue. I might not be using the same 10% for this dark, this shadow here. And that's just the truth. The reason why I'm using this is because it feels right for my eyes. Well, this blue shall make sense. But let me go back to the white because that's what I want to use. So it feels right to my eyes. Now we have created the darkness. We need to create the light because this guy needs to appear as though it is on top of the frame. And you can only do that by creating distance between the elements and the frame. And distance is being created by that shadow and light. So you click on it again, you go to effects. This time, click on the plus icon again to add yet another effect, which is still going to be a drop shadow. So that's going to be drop shadow number 2. Drop shadow number 2 is the first one on top. The first one you put is this one under. It is always like that. You can't change it. So what you want to do is in drop shadow number 2, you're going to click on the settings. Now the x-axis, you're going to do the negative of what you did for the drop shadow number 1, which is going to be Job shadow number one, we did 8, 8, 16. And in this one, now we're going to do minus 8, and then we're going to do 16. So you see where this thing is going to. Deepen, are you seeing it? My people, Indy God is good notice. Are you seeing it over there? Yeah. So plus 16. Now, when you get to plus 16, the next thing you want to do is the color. Because, of course, you can't have the darkness here and have darkness here. You remember that, what's it called? Avatar. In the land of myth. Sorry, that's me. What's the avatar something? Once upon oh, wahala. Once upon a time. The destiny. I'm still saying my name. Wait. Um, ah! Oh, what is that avatar into? Fire, air, land, water. I believe that's in Jerry. Let's proceed. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Let's proceed. Yeah, that's the let's just proceed. I was trying to get something, but it no work. So let's click here to set -8 minus 16. Now the color here, it's not going to be on the dark side anymore. My brother and sisters, it has to be on the light side. So you just keep it somewhere around here. In this instance, I put it at E3, 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 and it seems comfortable for me. I have something neuromorphic over there. You see that it appears as though this guy is sitting away from the shape, I mean from the frame. So I'm just going to type what I did there here. Alright, just going to type it there. So copy and paste. So job shadow 2, just minus 8, minus 16. So what I used was what again? Is it E3, E3, E3? So E3, 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 25%. So it's E3, 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 25%. Alright. So I'm just gonna have this over there. So this is something identical to what you have over here. The only difference for lie is just that this guy has there's an image here and the color is not the same. You see the color is not the same. If it was the same color, we might have need for all this light here, but you can see that mine is not too light because of course we already have the background looking a bit white already. You feel me? So watch this. This is not all there is to neomorphism. Let me show you what I mean. You can see that all these elements appear as though they are on top of the screen, but there is usually one that appears as though it is inside of the screen. So just follow me and let me show you what I mean. Because neomorphism, yes, we create distance, but we also create depth. Meaning that, look at this for example. You can still play with the shadows in such a way that you're going to have depth, right? So you're going to have depth. So let's do that. Hmm, what is life? So we're just going to do the same thing. Just pick the circle here. I'm going to bring the. I'm just going to bring the circle down. Sorry, let me reduce this one a bit. I think I should just reduce it so that I can have space. So I just want to create the one now for the inside, you know. So remove these shadows, you don't need them anymore. Wait, one more thing. All of you remember something. You remember we talked about styles. Remember we talked about styles in one of the classes where we talked about how you can create styles. I hope you remember that. I hope you remember we talked about styles. So what you just want to do is this. You see this on your morphism design that you've done. Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was not sharing it. Sorry. You can see it now. You see this on the morphism design that you've done. Just come over here, click here, and make it a style. I'll tell you why later. So we're just going to call this one. We're going to call this one drop shadow one, right? So we're just going to drop shadow one. So we'll just keep it there. So now we're about to create drop shadow. Uh, no. Let's not call this drop shadow one. Sorry, I'm just going to rename it. Let's call this distance shadow because we have drop shadow one and two. for inside of this guy. So let's call it distance shadow. Then the next one we're going to be creating now is for the depth. So this is the circle here. I just duplicated this one, but I removed the effect. So imagine I just come here, click on this. This is the work of the style. You can see it just applies itself over there. So I'm just going to remove it. Now to create the inside shadow, you're not going to be using the drop shadow anymore. Now you're going to be using the inner shadow. The inner. The inner. Somebody say the inner shadow. So that's what you're going to be using. So when you click on the inner shadow, of course, same just you can just use the same settings. Like I said, there's no one way to do it. You just do it the way that's actually perfect. So I'll just do 8 here, do 8 here, and then I might just do 16 over here. So I have darkness on this side. See that I have darkness on this side. So what I want to do is just come over here and just like 10%. Okay. Then I come over here, take this guy and make it inner shadow. Setting, and this time I'm just going to do -8, -8, and -16. Now I'm probably going to use the same E3 here, and let me see if it's going to work. E3 blur this should be -16. Sorry, hold on. I want to know what. Sorry, blur should be 16 rather. That should be 16, not -16. Okay. Did this one enter -16? Wait, let me see. Just wait. I want to see if this was minus. Should be 16, 16. Yes, please. That should be 16. The block cannot go minus. So this one here appears as though it's inside. But let's look at it well now. Does it really look as if it's inside? I feel like it does in a way, but somehow it's not yet there. I feel like somehow it's not yet there. So let's flex the darkness a bit. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come here and wait. I'm going to come here and increase the darkness a bit. Let me see something. Okay, let me assume that that's okay. So let me go to the light and let me increase the light a bit. Like I said, there's no one way to do it. You have to just keep flexing it until you get what you want. For me, I think it's almost there. So let me try something. Let me reduce the blur to 8. Okay. And then let me reduce the darkness. Let me find another color for the darkness. Wait, if you see the way my eye is looking at this thing now, you'll not believe it's me because this is my mouth is here. I just have to make sure that I get something. So I'll just increase the blur now to 16 again. Then I'm looking for a perfect. What I'm trying to show is that see, it is okay to just test it. I'm not going to just come and give you figures and leave you like that. I want you to know that I test it too to just make sure it's there. So I think I've gotten what I need for inner shadow. Wait. Let me increase this darkness a bit more. When I there with me, it's just chill. Okay, 51%. Let me make the darkness y-axis 16 to 16. That one will work. So 8. You'll be surprised I'm testing it like this because I don't use it. I don't basically don't use it that much. It's just for some kind of fine design like this. It is very rare for you to find that you're going to use it because it's a design style. If you start with it, you see that you have to use it almost everywhere. If you start out with it, so it's not always very used. So and then the color also matters. If this was a different background color, it might have been easier to create depth. But because the default color is white, it might just be taking a bit of time. But I think I can go with this. So I'm just going to save this one as depth shadow. So what's the light? What is the white I actually use for this guy? Let me see so that I'll just make sure I write it down. So I use 8 8 block 10 8 8. Okay, so minus 8 minus 8 block it's almost the same thing. Even use the 16 proper. Let me make this one a bit darker. So it is very normal to play around with it until you get exactly what you're looking for, until you feel comfortable with it. That's the shadow has not really entered my eye. So let's go about it again. It's not yet there for me. It's still looking at. Yeah, I think this is it now. This is it for me. This is for me. So good. So I'm not going to write what I used there. If you can catch it, you catch it. If you watch the video, and then just play around with it. I think it's okay to tell you play around with it. So what's the last thing I want to do now? Ladies and gentlemen, watch this. Maybe I've made these guys styles, right? So I'm just going to take them outside here. So I'm going to draw another circle inside of here, and I'm going to do something really nice. So the first thing I want to do is, what's the color of my background? Remember that the background is very important, because that's the where it started from. So I'm just going to do the effects of distance first. Watch this. Now I'm going to duplicate this circle, reduce it in size, holding shift, and take it over here. Now watch this. So you have something like this. Now I'm going to take this circle again, Control D, and now I'm going to resize another one. And then this one here, I'm going to use the depth shadow. So I'll just resize it a bit more. Place it there, so there. This is the power of neomorphism design. It's just that simple. It's just that pretty. You understand? White is often the most difficult color to use for neomorphism because you won't have very good. You might not have very good light effects like this. You understand? So white is often very difficult to use for neomorphic design. So most times people tend to use other colors, tones and shades of other colors. But I had to use this one to actually set this for you guys. So what is your assignment going to be? What is your assignment going to be? Let me see. So assignment, the first thing you want to do is you want to create your morphism styles. Yes. Now we are going to use them, but I'm thinking if you should do this. I'm thinking. My mind is telling me something. My mind is telling me something, but I'm thinking it. I'm trying to think it through. This is uh, this is nice, and I think you can do this. I actually think you can do this because I think it's simple. It's just the same thing, just different background color. So when I send it to you, you get it on your Figma, and then maybe say you create your first frame. When you create your frame, all you want to do is just take the color of this guy for background. you know. So that calling means that you pick the color for background. You understand? So it's actually something that I think you can do. Looking at it, Lord, what are you saying? Lord, what are you saying? So basically, you're going to now adjust. That means your shadows are not even going to work anymore. You're going to have to create yours to fit this. So you can still use the 8 8 for the darkness. It's just the color that's going to change. Color. This one, for example, now from what I'm looking at here, I can see a vast display of darkness of the shadow, right? So let me see 32 32. That might be a bit too much. Let's do like 20 20. See what I'm talking about? You will test it. Yes. So And then you have the other side here for the light. So here we might just do -20, or minus 20, and then have 32 for the block. How many did this guy for block? 32. Let me see. So 32, 32. Just that this one here is going to be more on the white side. You see why I told you that if you're using a different color, it's easy to implement light compared to when you're using white color. That's what I'm trying to say. You can see how this one is almost it's looking like it's perfect already. So the only thing you just want to do is good. You just want to draw. I think the next thing you can do here is you're going to have a normal circle drawn. Circle will come into this one, and then that circle is just going to have an image. So in this case, I'll probably just use. Let me use this girl's image here. I think it's the closest thing to the background. I think, yeah, I think that's basically what you have. This is just like this being done. The only difference is that the light here is still too much. So what I imagine is that look, what I imagine is that their blur is not so much. So I might just reduce the blur to 10, and transparency of this color here is, you see that. So just have it like, let's say let's do 50, then let's increase the blur to 32, right? So let's increase the y-axis a bit. So I said y, I'm holding it to y. Something like that is what they did over there. So you see that, in short, you guys are doing this thing. It's not difficult. This is just, it's just going to take you like tops 20, 30 minutes, max 1 hour if you're actually being slow. But it's not difficult at all. It's not difficult at all. You can do everything. You see this one here that is blur. You just shadow. You just basically you take something like when you're done typing and everything, you can just draw a rectangle, right? And then give this rectangle, let's say linear, and just give it linear, something like that. Give it a white, reduce the transparency, drag it down, just something to create something like that. Then you can just give it the effect of layer blur, or background blur rather. Let's use background blur. Just keep it somewhere around here. You can also reduce transparency of that color further. It will just be there. So everything is just pretty simple. Even if you don't have to do this, you can just do the normal text and everything. Please note one thing. The color of this text is not black. You can copy this color when you're typing. For example, T for text. Let's say I come here and I type it, right? Let's say I want to use the font Poppins, and let's say the size is 24. So just come over here, click the color, click the pencil, and then copy this. Look at this place. Look here. This is where you see it here. So you need to make sure you're selecting the text like this. So just copy it. It makes more sense like that. It's not pure black. If you use pure black, it's not gonna be fine. It's not gonna be fine at all. You understand? So you're just going to be careful to make sure you use the same color. So you can see that it's actually easy. This is your assignment, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! This is your assignment. That's your assignment. Mm, that's your assignment over there. So when you are done with your assignment, this is what you're going to do for me. So let's imagine that you have a frame. This is how you're going to submit. First of all, you draw a frame. So your frame, you can also give it the same color with this one here. Then you bring your design into view. Alright, so let me zoom into it. This top nav bar over there should also have the same background with your guy, your design. So I'm just going to give it this. So what you want to do is this, ladies and gentlemen. Click on your frame, right? Your 13 minute. come to stroke, click on stroke, click on the stroke, turn it to white, increase the stroke to 4, take it outside. This is what you're going to have. It is neater. It is neater this way. This is how I told you guys that if you make designs and you add this extra stroke to them, it gives it life. It brings it to life. It gives this unjo. You understand? It makes it beautiful. You understand? So that's what I want you to do to submit. So this is just your screen one. You do your screen two. You get it like this. And then when you finish, if you want to even make it more beautiful, you can. Have we done mock-ups? No, I don't think I've done mock-ups. I can't remember that. So just leave it like this. I even prefer this to mock-ups sometimes because mock-ups can be very, very taxing. Thanks. There's something I want to do. Wait. So imagine I do something like this now. So let's say I draw a rectangle here. So I'm going to take this rectangle somewhere around here. Right? I'm going to do something like this. Gentlemen, reduce the size a bit. So I'll just take it to the center of this screen. Then I'll turn this rectangle to the color of this background. Then I'll give it corner radius of let's say 32 up a bit. I have something like this. So I'll just give the rectangle this stroke. This stroke. Let me see. If I give it stroke, I can give only the bottom stroke, make it 4. I just want to see if it's going to work. Let me see. So I can just have something like this. I'm just trying to create a custom, you know what I'm trying to say? Something that will look customized, you know what I'm trying to say? So, something like that. But I don't know if this is fine by you, you can actually try it out, if it's fine. If you feel like it's okay, if you feel like that's beautiful, you can actually um, I will send you the image. This is going to be this image is going to be sent to you on WhatsApp to work with. So if you feel like, oh, you like the way I did this thing here, you can actually try it out. Make your design nice. I can actually take this as well and place somewhere around here. On this guy a bit. I'm just trying to say, there are some ways you can do a design and you make someone look at it twice. You make people look at it twice and wonder, oh boy, how was this thing actually done? And this thing I just did now, I've not done it before. Like I've not done this actually before, but I know that yes, you can do this because you're actually just it's a presentation now where you're not submitting it to developers. So you can have to look like all these phones that have power buttons something on the left here. I'm too good. Somebody say I'm too good. I'm too good. Okay. So yeah, I don't want to do much customization. So that's your assignment. This is what you're going to do in your mock exam. I think this is simple. So all of these ones, so just be careful, do exactly what you're saying, and you're good to go. You know where to get the icons from. Yeah. So when you finish, this is the frame that you're going to submit. So you click on the frame, just come over here, click on export, and make sure it's in PNG. Then export it. It's going to go into your laptop as a picture that when you send to WhatsApp, it's going to come up as a picture. Not all those 11 MB submission, please. Not all those 11 MB submission. Mhm. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is all that we have to do for today. Yeah, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so that we can take questions. Okay. Okay. So I'm looking at the chat session now. Yes, Mr. Developer Kings. Yes, you're welcome. You won it, and that's fine. Maru love, relax. Franklin, this person is too much now. Looks like it was eaten by rats. Yes, that's your opinion and it's nice. But I'm just trying to say that you can flex the design in that regard. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, wait, let me share my screen again. Just hold on. Just hold on. Going to share my screen right now. So what I mean is you can flex it, right? If this is too much. The reason why I brought it back, see where wisdom is, it's because of the stroke. You see, if I take this guy a bit further, it's as if there is something there. Unless I will reduce this one a bit, I'll still have to reduce it. Because I have to make sure that this is looking as if it's a natural curve and not a coincidental epilepsy. You understand? So that's why I did it the way I did it, the way I did it when I did it, the way I did it. You understand? Okay. So that's all we have for today. So today we covered user persona, information architecture design, wireframing, and finally we covered what neomorphic design style, where your assignment has been clearly stated. Your assignment has been clearly stated. So that's what you are supposed to do to submit by Friday, I believe. Any questions, please? There's a stroke on the play button having a shadow cast on it. Yeah, yeah, there should be a stroke. You can actually apply that. It's pretty simple. It's just the same thing. Once you apply a stroke, you will see it. It's trial and error for you. But I believe that today's class, you saw me do something over and over. It's not like I told you, oh, use this. No, no, no. You saw me look at it. If I was sharing my camera with you for you to see the way my head was bent and just look at that shadow, you will know that you have a lot of work to do on your own end as well. So you will just keep testing it out until it works, and definitely it's going to work for you. Yeah, I'm going to send the link to the video as soon as possible. It's going to come tonight, most definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much. I can see good job, job good from Marulov, and thank you so much. Franklin, you don't have to crack your head. You should crack your head. You'll be fine. Yeah, you're gonna be fine. Any questions, you can ask me on the chat session. Let me know if you have any questions at all. I need to know if you have any questions. Any questions? Any questions? I believe that there are no questions. Yes, Franklin, the links I dropped on the group. What's about it? What do you have any questions regarding the links? Um, you can apply. You can apply. You might be very blessed. They might tell you, oh, well, we like the spelling of your name, and we want you to come over. They prepare your visa and everything for you. Yeah, people are blessed. You understand? You can apply, but my intention was for you to observe, to just check and know that you have gone far. Actually, yes, you have gone far. So that's all for tonight. I'm going to share the link as soon as it's done uploading to their server, and I'll be sending the assignment ASAP. Thank you for participating in tonight's class. Almost someone wants to join the call by 10:42. By 10:42. Ha! Quadri de Meji. You're welcome. You're welcome. So that's all for tonight. that No, no, see your portfolio. I sent the video. I just want you to try what you try, It's fine. But of course, we are going to do all of that together. There will be a class, a general class, you don't have to worry. Yeah, to be trip, share. So this class and aspect. Yeah, yeah, well, we're still doing the easy things. We'll get to the hard ones later. So thank you guys. Make sure you do your assignment. I'll send the picture and everything to the group in about 2, 3, 4 minutes, right? So that's all for tonight. Have a great night. It's been an hour and 42 minutes. Make sure you sleep well. Thank you so much. Have a nice night. Rest well. I'm going to be ending the call in 10, 9, 7, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Thank you, Ifine. 3, 2, 1, and catch you 4, 0.